every day in crypto seems to be more exciting than the next. And so the last 24 hours certainly didn't disappoint. I got three major stories to talk about, my take on them, and where I'm going from here. But before we go any further, please hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. I'd love to see you all the time here. And because crypto is so exciting and every day is an adventure, we have new videos every single day for you. So hit that subscribe button, and with that, let's get into the first story. It has to do with Coinbase. So look.
Brian here from Coinbase. Well, today's a really good day because we just heard from the SEC staff that they're planning to withdraw their litigation against Coinbase. Now, this still needs to be approved by the SEC commissioners, but we're hoping that happens next week. And if this goes through, it's a really big deal, not just for us, but for the whole crypto industry, the 50 million Americans who hold crypto, and I think for the rest of the world, because this is an important signal about where things are going.
Yep.
Now, ultimately, we still need to get legislation for crypto passed in America, codify some of these rules, and make sure the industry can get built on shore.
Yep.
But if this goes through, it's still a very important legal precedent that rights a wrong that was taking place over the last few years, where the SEC, unlawfully, in my view, decided to attack or even try to kill the entire crypto industry by suing lots of different companies, including us, claiming that many of these crypto assets were securities. Now, they did this despite there not being any law indicating that that was the case. They didn't publish any clear rules to the industry. And in our situation, they actually had allowed us to become a public company just a few years prior, where they looked at everything we were doing and our listing standards, and they got comfortable enough to allow us to become a public company. So
that last piece is the thing that kills me the most. It's the SEC has very strict standards for becoming public or for going public. And the SEC allowed them to become a public company and then turned around and sued them shortly after that. Despite knowing all their inner workings and how they operated, they still let them become public, yet then they sued them and went after them. Absolutely insane. And what's that say to crypto companies out there? Look, if you do business in the United States, we're going to make it very difficult for you. We're going to tell you one thing and turn around and do something different. Well, that's all changed. And I hope while this is not official yet that SEC has dropped the charges against Coinbase, it sounds like it's impending. And that is very, very bullish news. The problem with pushing companies outside of the United States is that they're still going to persist other places with less regulation, less guidelines, and more opportunities for fraud and frauding the American people out of their money. I'd rather bring the good companies on shore, have a safe place for people to do business. Obviously, there's risks in crypto, but as long as you don't have to worry about the place where you're keeping your money, the risks, that's not a risk you have to worry about, then that's very good. So I think this is very bullish news. Now, something crazy happened with that is that the stock price of Coinbase actually went down 8% yesterday, which is a pretty significant move. Now, I do believe this is indicative of the broader market. This is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. Please do your own research. But I look at this drop, I own a very, very, very tiny bit of Coinbase. It's not even worth talking about. But I think it's interesting that this dropped yesterday, but the broader market dropped significantly, with the BYBIT hack, all these things happening at one time. That obviously, the Coinbase is going to be affected by it. But I think investors might look at this differently come Monday morning. The next up is the BYBIT crypto hack. Well, this crypto hack was the biggest single crypto hack out there. It says Ben Zhu of BYBIT'S CEO said in a live stream that the hack had affected around 401,000 Ethereum. They were transferring it from a cold wallet to a warm wallet in a routine transfer, and I think it got held. There's some things that happened. They manipulated through a sophisticated attack that masked the signal interface, displaying the correct address while altering the underlying smart contract logic. Sounds like a phishing scam to me. A very, very sophisticated phishing scam that got about $1.4 billion out of it. So that is absolutely terrible. And you could see it brought down the entire market yesterday. If you go to Bitcoin, if you go to see what Bitcoin did yesterday, you can see right here. This was about 7 a.m. yesterday morning, 9 a.m. Well, two things happened then. The BYBIT hack happened around that time, but also we had some macroeconomic news that was unexpected and not good outlook for the broader economy. I don't really want to go into detail on that right now, but just know that it wasn't the best news. It was unexpected, and it affected the market between that and the Bitcoin drop. It was almost at $100,000. We almost pierced 100. We were at like 99.4, 99.5, and it dropped back down to 94,000. So like a $6,000 swing in a very short period of time. The market was falling, crashing, flashing, all these things. And we've recovered a bit since then. And, it is a weekend, so I hate trading on Sundays. I mean, it's Sunday trading with low liquidity, whales coming in. I believe there's a lot of market manipulation. I could be wrong. Don't hold me to that. But that's what it feels like, and I usually get wiped out. So I don't like to hold trades through a Sunday. It just has not fared well for me over the last couple of years. So that being said, our third story is very interesting. So there's a company out there called MetaPlanet. You've probably heard of it, but they bought another $6.6 million of Bitcoin yesterday. And their single goal is to get, they have 2,100 Bitcoin right now. They want to have 10,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. 10,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2025. And in 2026, they want to have 21,000 Bitcoin. So this to me is very bullish because now you have other companies that are doing things that MicroStrategy, or I should say Strategy, is doing, and another major player, major buyer in the marketplace. Now think about this. Now you're going to have companies like Strategy and MetaPlanet. And then what happens if, I said if, United States decides to develop a strategic reserve through buying Bitcoin, and you have another major buyer, and you have countries like, maybe Asian countries like China or Japan or England or Germany buying up Bitcoin as well. And so now you have major buyers putting the squeeze on the price of Bitcoin, all competing for that Bitcoin. What's going to happen to the price of your Bitcoin? So if companies and countries and entities and big whales are buying Bitcoin and their goal, and they're saying out loud, hey, we're going to buy a ton of Bitcoin this year, what do you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin this year? It's going to absolutely skyrocket. That's my opinion, not financial advice. There's going to be a lot of volatility between now and my Lambo, but that's part of the game. So just understand that this is a risky environment. I say this a lot because people go nuts and they're like, Joe, you didn't tell me that this was risky. If you don't know this is risky, there's not an investment out there that's not risky. I mean, short of a T-bill, which just has its own risks with the US dollar collapsing, not going to happen, hopefully. But if it did, your T-bill would be pretty useless. Even a bank that's FDIC insured. Everything has risk, but crypto has a high risk. So just to go over and recap, you have Coinbase, Brian Armstrong from Coinbase, coming out and saying that, look, it looks like they're going to drop the case. This is great. You have BYBIT, the largest single hack, I think, and if I'm wrong, correct me down below if I'm wrong on this, but one of the largest single hacks in history, 401,000 Ethereum, $1.4 billion hacked yesterday. Now, according to BYBIT, they're still solvent. They're still doing business as usual, and they're working to shore up any potential or future issues like that. But still, pretty major, caused a flash crash in the market. And then you have MetaPlanet saying that they're going to buy a bunch of Bitcoin. So another competitor in the market. So a lot of positive stuff going on. I see the market, right now, the altcoins, they've been beaten pretty badly the last couple of months. Are they going to make a comeback? Put your information and put your answer to that down below. Are altcoins, we going to have an altcoin season? Is it going to happen soon? That's all I got. Hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.